So we're talking about a leg length discrepancy. How do you fix it? That's the big question. Remember, a leg length discrepancy isn't really a leg length discrepancy unless you measure those femurs by x-ray. It is instead your hips. So what you want to do is set up your camera to check out which one of your hips is working and which one is a little out of position. So when you get your camera set up, just make a little video of yourself walking. And my suggestion is to take your shoes off and have a contrasting top and bottom. So you can put your hands on your hips and you can walk towards the camera and you can see if you see anything interesting that's happening as you're walking that you may or may not have noticed before. Here's what happens if one hip gets out of position. Let's say my left hip is a little bit higher than my right side. My shoulders want to sit on top of my hips. And now everything is okay according to my shoulders. But then my eyes look at the horizon and they realize the world is crooked. So then I bring my head back this way so I look thoughtful, or I drop a shoulder. Now I'm walking around like this and it looks like I have a shoulder problem or a head position problem, but really the source is coming from that hip. So we've got to pull that hip back down and make it level again. There's a bunch of different ways to do that. As you can see, I don't need a lot of fancy equipment. I have a yoga mat here just to protect me from the grass, but that is about it. You can use the rug, you can use the floor, you can use a chunk of carpet or a towel, anything to just give you a little bit of protection from the ground if you have to get down on the ground. So, do I need fancy equipment? No. Do I have to be in good shape to figure this out? Also a no. That's why we're here, to figure out what muscles are working, what muscles aren't, and what to do to get them all to work. Okay, so now, how do you fix it? Once you've determined which hip is higher than the other, then you have to kind of assume that the muscles on the hip that's a little bit higher aren't working very well. Otherwise, that hip would be nice and level. There would be nothing remarkable about how you move. I would say that everybody has a not so strong hip and a strong hip. Sometimes it's the left side, sometimes it's the right side. It totally depends. How can we get these hips to level out? Let's see if we can target one of the big powerful hip muscles that gets overlooked a lot, the glute. And we're going to do a very simple exercise called walking sideways. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to balance on one foot and you're going to try and shift your weight onto your heel. If you have to hold on to something, totally fine. Just shift your weight onto your heel. So as you're balancing on one foot, you're trying to shift your weight onto your heel and you're trying to connect the heel to the calf to the hamstring. First step in trying to find that glute muscle is to balance on one foot. Why is it important to balance on one foot? Because how many times a day are you in a 1 foot situation? That would be every time you take a step. So if you step off a curb, if you step off a step, if you hit a banana peel, if you hit some gravel and you slip, it's a great idea to be practicing this chain reaction from your heel to your calf to your hamstring to your glute as many times as you can, so that if things go horribly wrong or not the way you intended, then at least you have some muscles lined up and some nervous system stuff lined up to help you so that it doesn't become an Olympic event. Okay, so now you're bouncing on one foot. You've connected calf to hamstring to glute. Now you're going to step tiny little steps sideways, and you're going to drive through that heel. Now I'm going to drive through the left heel as I move to the right. Left calf hamstring glute, left calf hamstring glute, left calf hamstring glute, right calf hamstring glute, right calf hamstring glute, right calf. And here's the big question: how do I know if I'm doing it right? Well, you will feel the muscle working. If you're having difficulty, we never say can't. If you're having difficulty feeling the muscle, try shifting your weight onto your heel and then squeezing that bun muscle right where the pocket on your jeans would be, and see if that helps your brain figure out where the muscle goes. If you're going to the side, you're balancing on one foot, you've got your weight on your heel, you've connected the calf to the hamstring to the glute. You're going to squeeze that glute and take a tiny step to the side. Try your hardest to not bend your knees as you go to the side, because that invites our little friends the quads in, and they are super bossy and want to do everything. Consider that your back might be hurting because it's actually working too hard. In my group program, Hack Your Back Pain, I don't ever do back exercises. I think backs are working plenty. It is all the muscles above and below it that aren't working that you have to kick in to take pressure off of it. That is one of the tenets. Hack your back pain without ever actually touching your back. If it's comfortable, lie on your back on your yoga mat with your knees bent. Put the hands on the sides of your hips, right where your pockets on your jeans would be. And you're gonna try and squeeze and release those glutes down here and see if you can do it without any help from your stomach or your back or your thighs or the inside of your thighs or even your hamstrings. How is that? I see lots of steam coming out of people's ears the first time they try and squeeze and release those glutes. And be careful to not tighten up your stomach and rotate your hips back like this. So there's 2 ways to get those glutes to work and to start to level out those hips to help with your leg length discrepancy. And next, I'd like to show you some case studies so you can see it in action and hear other people's results. Here's to balance, strength, and happiness. Lower Coleman weight with just muscles and hack your back pain.